So what is multiverse effect? Multiverse effect is that simultaneously you are everywhere. If you look at the entire universe, many lokas, various worlds, what are these worlds representing? Various frequencies. In some worlds, you can choose your death. We had that experience in Satya Yuga when you're transcending from waking state to sleep state. You have no control. You are not consciously shifting to dream state, are you? In the conscious state, you choose to shift. Each state, that navigation is your choice. You can operate in gross and subtle. Gross is what you are using for communication. Subtle is what you use for presence simultaneously. So person becomes presence when you are fully conscious. So in this state, when you are the presence, so where is time and space in this context? Well, multiverse is completely based on our perception. How we see, how we are, that's how our universe is. In real life, we know this. How we are, that's exactly how the world is. Like imagine you are unwell. Even if the climate is beautiful, you will not feel good. Why? It's not about the nature, it's about you. So it's always like this that how we are, that's exactly how we perceive the universe, the world around us, the universe. So when you talk about the entire universe of creation, it's completely based on time and space. The entire creation is based on time and space. Space created time. If there is no space, there is no point for time. Time has no value. So the whole creation is connected to time and space. And then out of that, multiple experiences. With time and space and presence, our mood, our nature, we experience life. So if you look at the entire universe, many lokas, what is lokas? Worlds, various worlds. What are these worlds representing? Various frequencies. In some worlds, you can choose your death. We had that experience in Satya Yuga, in Golden Age. We decided to die and then we die. Otherwise, we don't die. There's no death by default. Time cannot provide you death. Time cannot provide you birth. That state happens when we are completely in tune with the energy. Then we degenerated. The Satya Yuga time was the maximum creation time. All the Prajapatis, various Prajapatis, we call them sons of Brahma. We only know a few, but there are many. They are simply like our artists, painters, sculptors, like that. They created many, many things on this canvas, but they never harmed Earth. They never created anything that will harm Earth. They never created anything which is contradicting the frequencies of Earth. See, look at how all the beings who are carnivorous, they lick water. The carnivorous beings, they lick water. Herbivorous beings, they drink water, they swallow water. And everything has a distinction. Creation has distinction. Each creation had a purpose, clarity, connection. All these were there in each creation. So the entire creation happened on earth during the early Satya Yuga time because the frequency was of dharma, righteousness. Nothing was unrighteous. Then came Sri Rama's time, Treta Yuga. Treta Yuga came, slightly unconscious things started. Ravan represents that. 25%. Very simple unconscious states. What was his unconscious state? He was connected to Shiva much more than probably Ram. Shiva represents supreme consciousness. Ravan was worshipping Shiva and Shiva gave his Atma Linga to him. A part of his own soul he created and gave it to him as a linga for worship. So Ravan was very deeply connected to Shiva, just like Ram. So what was the problem with Ravan? Selfishness. Selfishness was his problem. I want everything for myself. So that time, when in the Treta Yuga, that was a big sin to be selfish. So what is the right way of living? Selflessness. And Ravan was also following righteousness like Ram. Ravan was also following righteousness, like goodness, like Ram. Whenever anybody came to his place, his palace, never left without anything, never left empty-handed. He behaved like a proper king and a Brahmin. A Brahmin is not supposed to say no. A king is not supposed to say no. Ravan actually did that, performed that. But he, out of his greed and selfishness, he kidnapped Sita. But I don't believe that he was foolish enough to do that. He had a plan. What was his plan? At the time of his death, he is with an avatar, ensuring liberation. Whatever you do in life, everything gets deleted. And if the avatar is next to you at the time of your death, you are liberated. Brilliant idea. It is not foolishness. And how can you bring Ram there? For sure, take his wife. Brilliant idea again. He has to come there. And at the hand of Ram, he died. What more you need? But because he was selfish, he is considered as evil. So then came Krishna's time. In Krishna's time, what happened? There was definite ignorance, non righteousness at play. It's almost 50-50. Krishna and his people to preserve righteousness, and the other parties complacent, tamasic, unrighteous. So then it becomes a direct conflict. But remember, Krishna left 5,000 years ago, 5,000 or 6,000 BC, more than 5,000 years ago. And when he left, he demolished Dwaraka. The entire Dwaraka, his empire, went underwater. He shifted his people, the core people, back to Vrindavan, because he was seeing destruction. And the entire Yadav clan fought and died. So he even destroyed his own clan before he left. Because what comes next is Kali's time. Completely unrighteous, unconscious, completely life based on emotions, greed, selfishness. That's what we are experiencing now. Inequality. This was coming. So, an ideal place like Dwaraka cannot exist now. All the pyramids, you see, they were very, very powerful energy centers. Most of them were closed at that time. When the era shifted to Kali, most of the beings vanished. They just went because now it's a time of ignorance, greed. So, what are people like me doing? Trying to bring that awareness to people. And we have to live like human beings to do that. We cannot behave like somebody who's not human and then talk. So we have to do that. There's so many beings who are coming and telling what is the truth. To take people to the state of Satya Yuga, fully conscious, a state of complete consciousness, fully aware. So, an example I can quote of Satya Yuga, fully conscious, is that now we say fall into sleep, isn't it? I fell into sleep. You know what is falling into sleep? You're unconscious. When you're transcending from waking state to sleep state, you have no control. You're not consciously shifting to dream state, are you? It's just happening. That is exactly the sign of the unconscious state. In the conscious state, you choose to shift. Each state, that navigation is your choice. That's a direct example you can experience. You can move from waking state, and when you have no desires or you have no stored data, dreams are coming out of stored data, what you have collected and stored. When you have nothing like that inside you, what you have? Waking state, deep sleep state. Why deep sleep state? To rejuvenate, to bring back your energy, like you charge your mobile phone, something like that. You put the mobile phone for charge, then it's fully charged, then you can use it for some time. Similarly, deep sleep state is a rejuvenation time. It heals. That's the time. That's why sleep is very important. It heals you. That's the time. So shift happens from waking state to dream state to deep sleep state with full awareness. Means your awareness will be above, like floating like a boat on the water while you go through the waking state, dream state, and deep sleep state. That means your awareness is always above, it's floating. Like that, death, deep sleep state, and death state have similarities. We don't know when we are dying, right? But we fall into death. Death happens. But in Satya Yuga, that's the difference here. You fall into death at will. That means you gather all your energies. This is possible even with, I mean, various masters. The samadhis which people, great masters, they attain. They gather all the energies to heart center, then take it to sahasrara and then leave. So this is possible as a practical thing. It is possible. So in Satya Yuga, coming and going are at will. And another thing, you can operate in gross and subtle. What do you mean by operating in gross and subtle? Gross is what you are using for communication. Subtle is what you use for presence. Simultaneously. Simultaneously. We have examples of great masters. Babaji, for one. Babaji has gross, but tangible, enough tangible. You can put your hand through him if he comes and stands in front of you. Siddhi Sai Baba, he left his body more than 100 years ago. He's still tangible. We're making a temple because when we do Prana Pradishta, he comes, he stays, he delivers. There are examples, many examples. Now, look at Krishna, Rama, Jesus. Have they gone? Not gone. Body, physically, they have disappeared, but presence, still there. So, person becomes presence when you are fully conscious. I repeat, a person simply becomes presence when you are fully conscious. So, in this state, when you are the presence, so where is time and space in this context? What's your age? What's your time? What's your operating level? Which level can you perform? Is there any boundary? No boundary. No boundaries. That's the state of a fully conscious personality. That is exactly why we are working so hard to bring people to the level of awareness beyond emotions, beyond ownership, to the level of awareness where you choose your life, you choose your experiences, you choose how it should be. And why should we be fully conscious? Only then you know freedom. Simple. Otherwise, we don't know freedom. What do we talk about freedom now? We talk about freedom that I have enough money, I can go to a shopping mall, eat and drink what we like, sleep wherever I like, or drink alcohol, do what we want to do. This is freedom, what we talk about. This is slavery to the mind. We are just expressing slavery to the mind. Mind is asking you to move and do things. That's exactly what we call freedom. Is that freedom? That's not freedom. What is freedom? You have everything, but you want nothing. You are at peace with yourself. You are unbound by positions, possessions, relations. This is freedom. Being there with the family, with everything, but not being that. That is freedom. That is liberated existence. And that's possible in this life. Then when you leave the body, you leave at will. This is exactly what a liberated person will do. He will leave at will, not falling into death. For medical science, death is a disaster. But for a person who's aware, death is just a transition. Okay, I'm done with this body. Now probably I'll take another body or not at all. That clarity happens while living. While living, that clarity has to happen. After leaving, whatever happens, we don't know. It's a theory. The heaven and the hell and the transit. We don't know these things, right? So let's talk about how you can experience things now, in this life, in this time, not tomorrow, not another time. You see? So what is multiverse effect? Multiverse effect is that simultaneously you are everywhere. Like Ramana Maharshi said, one person asked Maharshi, if I die now, will I come back in another body in 2.5 years? That's the usual thing they say. In 2 years and a half, you take another body. Human time. Once you leave the body, you are not bound by time. Soul is not bound by time even now. Body is bound by time. Emotions are bound by time. Your presence on earth is bound by time. All these are bound by time, but soul is not bound by time. So he asked, if I leave the body now, will I come back in 2.5 years? So Maharshi said, yes, definitely. But maybe at that time, you might be 70 years old. Hmm. What does that mean? That means you are already existing in a parallel reality. You are sitting here thinking you are this personality. At the same time, you are already existing in a parallel reality. And what are you doing sometimes? Not always coming back from this life to another life. Instead, this life to one life which is already existing. You can join it. Example, Akkalkot Swami, Akkalkot Maharaj, and Sai Baba. When Akkalkot Maharaj left the body, half of his soul merged with Sai Baba, this Siddhi Sai Baba, half the soul merged with the tree under which he was sitting. You see? And when Akkalkot Maharaj, people were coming to Akkalkot to see him, he came in the dream and said, don't come to Akkalkot, I'm sitting in Shirdi, come there. And when people reached Shirdi, they didn't see Sai Baba, they saw Akkalkot Swami. You understood the idea. This is possible for us also. But how we can not have this possibility? How we can smoothly, effectively avoid this possibility? By over addiction to the personality, by getting addicted to the personality. When you strictly believe, you believe I am this, I am this, I'm Mohanji, I'm this person. Like you are addicted to your name, your form, your relations, your positions and possessions. Then what happens is that every clinging is connected to that. You're over addicted to that, all those things. Then what happens at the time of your death, you're eager to come back and again continue the show. Then why do you exit at all? Because the body is not usable anymore. After a while, body is unusable because you are evolving all the time. Then you need another body. Body is bound by time. You can't really rejuvenate it. You cannot reinvent it. What you can do, maintain it properly so that you can have greater experience. That's the only thing you can do. So you have to come back in another body. But if you carry the same emotions, same frustrations, same anger, hatred, jealousy, ownerships, what will happen? You come back in the same way. You are asking for a repeated existence.